We need to make sure people continue to be able to have access to their freedom of speech, their freedom of expression, their freedom of information. But recently, over the past few years, a whole bunch of people have decided that the world is flat. And they hang out with each other, and they find different ways of proving to themselves that the earth is flat. Now, that may not seem like a very serious thing, because someone who believes the earth is flat is not going to necessarily cause tremendous harm to everyone else. But the ability to start to believe something that simply isn't true actually starts creating real problems and can bring us as a society to very scary places.
This is the guy. This is the guy that's supposed to have explained to millions of people that the earth isn't a level plane, you dummies. It's a ball spinning around the sun. Spinning on a tilt. Orbiting. Going 4.4 billion miles a year, but all of the stars stay in the same exact positions, not getting further away from each other, expanding or contracting, but the exact same spot. This is the guy, huh? If you haven't seen his face on YouTube or any other platforms, you obviously haven't researched Flat Earth, because this is the guy that they prop up to steer everyone away. This guy right here. One thing that I'm really curious if people know is this guy's not a professor. He just professes to be a professor. He's not a real professor. Here, listen to him say it himself.
I didn't know what the channel was going to become. I didn't know it was going to become the center point, the centerpiece of my life, and that it'd become successful and reading, and that I'd go on to explain dozens of other topics, including topics I know nothing about, but I hire experts in the field to write me the scripts, and then consultants to look at the scripts and look at the finished animations and make sure it's all good, right? I'm not pretending to be an expert, honestly, in any academic field, not even chemistry. I understand it very well. And then
what our buddy Dave is trying to say here without trying to say it is that he's hiring pseudoscientists to write pseudoscientific scripts that he then expels to all of his audiences on his YouTube as if it's his own thoughts. Dave's YouTube is literally full of straw man arguments while he completely tap dances around the fact that there's absolutely no proof that the earth is a globular ball. And if you didn't know, Professor Dave's worst nightmare is Witsit Gets It, and his entire community has been begging him to get on and destroy Witsit Gets It, but he's not going to be taking that offer anytime soon on a fair platform, that is. He's accepted the offer on a heliosexual platform where he'll be allowed to talk over Witsit and interject constantly, but he won't take it on a real platform. If you guys aren't subscribed to Witsit Gets It, you're missing out right now. This is who I'm consuming right now. I don't know why I didn't find him sooner. He literally has an understanding of electromagnetism and the ether and flat earth that a lot of others don't. So even I'm going to be studying him and trying to learn as much as I can. And again, I had him on the podcast for 2 hours. Go check it out. Link in my bio. Top button.
Okay, now, William Morris is from the book, the Nosconfunden. That's where this whole idea came from. But he would have done the same thing. He would have left the United States, and he would have went south, and he found an opening somewhere here. They call it, I think, the Summer Gate. But he would have found an opening, and then he would have went through and found the same thing, the Ancestral Republic, which they said they were as far from the ice wall as we were, similar, just in the opposite direction. And that makes sense. They may have been right here. That's the same amount of distance to there as it is from the United States to there. So it all makes sense if you look at it from a broad perspective. So that's 1783. Now, there was the late 1800s, E.W. Barrington did the same thing. And he found an opening. When he got close enough to the opening, he even said to his captain, let's go in there. And the captain's like, no, if we go in there, it's not wide enough for us to turn around. And if we come to a wall, then we're dead. But when they got close enough to it, it sucked them in. The current sucked them in, and they went in anyway. He called it the Barrington Strait. That was in the book, E.W. Barrington's book, The Iron Republic. That's another good read. If you like the Notes Confunding books, I would definitely recommend reading that. And there's even history on that, pictures of his boat and stuff. So that was a real journey. And he said the same thing, that he went through the ice wall and found more land. But I think the overall main point is that if you're going to travel long distances between these, the best vessel you could have is a dual purpose vessel. One that can fly and one that can be submerged and go underwater. And that's what we've heard from old sea captains talking about, seeing underwater submerged objects fly out of the water and fly away. So the best means of travel, if you're going to do mass distances, would be a vehicle that could do both.
I'm about to show you that NASA is playing you for a fool. You see behind me is an image of the Orion Nebula captured by Hubble. At the current value of the US dollar, Hubble is a $16 billion device. And I like to call it the space trash can. This here is supposed to be worth $16 billion. Okay, well, for $16 billion, this space trash can here better produce some good images. And I will admit that these images of the Orion Nebula are stunning. But are they worth $16 billion? For images like this only available because of the space trash can. Let's just look at the process Hubble uses to capture these images. It's here that the Orion Nebula is 1,500 light years away, and that it took 520 images to make this. Not only that, but it also added ground-based photos to fill out the nebula. Why would a telescope out in deep space need to fill the gaps with ground-based cameras? Does that really make sense to you? You really think it makes sense that the space trash can here is in deep space photographing the Orion Nebula? It needs ground-based photos to fill in the gap? Any reasonable person can conclude that a $16 billion satellite that's in deep space should not need the aid of ground-based cameras. That's obvious. But for those of you thick-headed people, let's continue. Let's compare NASA's $16 billion camera to amateur ground-based photography captured with much cheaper equipment. A $16 billion camera, operated by NASA's finest, would definitely produce a better image captured by an amateur with cheaper technology. I mean, the space trash can wouldn't have to look through the Earth's atmosphere. There shouldn't be much light pollution in deep space. But this thing here damn sure better be a lot better than this thing here. I'm about to show you as a photo of the Orion Nebula taken from the ground by an amateur photographer. I am going to let you decide if the $16 billion space trash can is worth it. After seeing what I am about to show you, you are going to realize that NASA is playing you for a fool. This is a picture of the Orion Nebula taken by my buddy David Shane. This image here is only 40 layered photos. 40. And this one here, 520 Hubble images with ground-based photos to fill it in. Yeah, that's right. They expect you to believe that this image here is 520 layered images from a $16 billion camera. David could get images like this off of 40 layered images in the Earth's atmosphere. By being honest with yourself for 1 minute, is this photo here better or worse than these photos here? If this is the best that NASA can do with $16 billion, it is time to defund NASA. You could be spending the money that goes to this, things that matter, like this. The world needs you to stand up, speak up, and be the change you want to see in the world. To be silent is to be complacent. It's time to speak up.
So this is for all the globe people out there. I'm just thinking, if I set aside this flat earth theory, do you think we landed on the moon? I feel like the globe and landing on the moon goes hand in hand. And then like flat earth and not landing on the moon goes hand in hand. So I'm super curious about your opinion if you think that we landed on the moon. Because Buzz, you know, the second guy that landed on the moon, doesn't think so. And there's a lot of interviews that have been proving it. So let me just show you.
Has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And then we'd done a lot of things, but we hadn't really sent people to the moon. So we did send...
My parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No,
which
you
was
didn't. No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. See, you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories.
Yeah, I know.
Well, no, but what we saw was we all were gathered around the old Curve Talk radio and listened.
Talking about how many feet we were going to the left and right, and then I said, contact light, engine stop.
It was
and a few
exciting.
other things, and then Neil said, Houston, Tranquility Base, the Eagle has landed. Man, how about that?
That was very exciting.
Not a bad line.
Yeah. This was so.
Let me just go out on a whim here and wildly guess that you've probably been shown this picture before and told that this displays the curvature of the Earth. This photo from Lake Pontchartrain, the power lines, does not demonstrate the curvature of the Earth as much as these little Legos demonstrate the curvature of this table. I know what you're thinking. How, dude? How does this not demonstrate the curvature of the Earth? So let's just make it really clear, just in case children are watching. Modern science says the human eye can see 3 miles into the distance from 6 feet off the ground. And due to the Earth's curvature, we can witness a boat disappear over the horizon at that distance. So they're saying this is physical obstruction, unlike what the flat earthers are saying, that this is an apparent horizon, an optical illusion. Us flat earthers, we're saying the opposite. We're saying this isn't physical obstruction. Look, you just zoom in and you can pull boats, mountains, buildings all back into frame. So what I'm getting at here is that this doesn't happen every single day. And it should if it were the actual geometric horizon of the curvature of the Earth obstructing and showing these power lines going down, us not seeing the bottom of them. It should happen like this every single day. But this was just a random day with great atmospheric conditions to make a mirage, to make it look like it's the curvature of the Earth. Don't believe me?
I am dangerously on 55 and I-10 junction in New Orleans over Lake Pontchartrain. These are the utility poles that run 18 miles across the lake. And I just wanted to show you
This picture should make things pretty clear. This is what we should expect from the horizon, and this is what we see. This is why we have so many flat earthers. We're just simply seeing way, way, way too far. So all they did was go to a low observer height, get the right atmospheric conditions, and call it curvature of the Earth. Hope that explains things for you. If you want to know more, check my link tree in my bio. So, first of all, if you would have paid attention during my video, you would have noticed that I said that NASA admits that this one here is a composite. But like every globe earther ever, you get triggered by the truth and you become belligerent. I got so emotionally worked up by what you thought I was saying that you didn't pay any attention to what was said. And here you are, embarrassing yourself with this comment. And like every globe earther ever, your confusion leads to your misunderstanding. So let me clear that up for you. As I said in my video, NASA admits that this here is a composite image. Here, same screenshot I had in my video, composite image. Since NASA will admit that this one is a composite, I pointed out the lunar surface so that people with the brain can compare it to the images NASA claims are real. Description of this image here does not include the word composite. They claim this one's real. And they will claim that
this one's real. Never mind the fact that the clouds do not change. This is definitely a real video of the Earth rotating. Beautiful. NASA says that these are real images taken by a spacecraft. And it says right here that the animation is of actual satellite images. They are claiming this is real. And what do you know? Here's a source to back my claim. This is real. Not looking so good for your comment, but let's continue. Up next, I showed you this clip here. This here is a clip from NASA that they claim is real. It's right here in the description to this video that the video is not an animation sequence or an artistic rendering of the moon. They claim that video is produced from an integrated set of lunar images and topographical measurements and is not an animation. The data and the images in that clip were gathered by the Lunar Orbiter laser and the Lunar Orbiter camera. And even though they say this video is not an animation sequence or artistic rendering, they end by saying that the clip was rendered at the Space Flight Center Scientific Visualization Studio. What do they do at studios? I don't know. That's a tough one. If this animation actually featured satellite images of the far side of the moon, the clouds would change. If they don't, because it is fake. The fact that the clouds do not move in these NASA animations of the Earth rotating proves it's fake. And the fact that anybody would even defend this nonsense is proof of government brainwashing. It is that brainwashing that is in the way of our freedom. The world will change when this lie is revealed. You could choose to fall with their system or rise with the people. Do not be on the wrong side of history. You are better than that, and you know it.
Sorry, boys, I have to push the nose down to deal with the curve. What are you talking about? Guys, we're going 500 fucking miles per hour. There's 8 inches per mile squared down there. I have to buckle this thing down a couple hundred feet, like in a fraction of a second.
Hello everyone, Strawman Dan here, and before I start, I just want to tell you all about what is by far my favourite app of all time. Yes, you guessed it, it's the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock app. I know, for years I have been anti-Flat Earth with my highly edited weekly anti-Flat Earth scripted rants, but after downloading this app, wow, I'm blown away. Earth is a horizontal level plane and I'm a complete douchebag. I'm sorry.